Here's what happened. For a lot of my life, I was afraid of my body. I didn't feel safe in my body. I felt like it was this battlefield and just having to like slug it out in this fight with myself. And that came up at different moments in my life. One I think of is high school, where I watched porn. And then what I was seeing when it came to the penis size, thinking that that was normal, I then would look at my own and I'd feel a lot of shame, a lot of anger, a lot of insecurity that came up. And then the other one was working out. I'm a hard gainer, so it takes a lot more effort for me to gain muscle. And when I'm seeing other people and the workouts they're doing and that I'm doing, and I'm not seeing the same results, for me, then I was so pissed off at myself. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with me? Like, what's going on here? And again, the anger was there. And it felt like, come on, like, what's going on? And then the other one was my height. I'm 5'8". I'm proud 5'8" now, but back then, I'd have those moments of comments that would come up and like what I'd see on TV and what was successful. I'd be like, oh, I'm supposed to be like this height to be successful. And like that messaging was coming through. So then I was so pissed off at like how short I was. Even though I think, I'm average, I believe going to it. But all that caused me to move through life in a very weak way. In a very meek way is like another word that just came up, but a very a way that was afraid of the world. And I moved in that way. And in communication with other people, I always felt I had to put on the mask, put on protection. And I went from that to then having to have really hard conversations with myself, where it would have been nice early on to have someone help guide me through that, which is what I want to do for you today. But having to have those hard conversations with myself and figuring it out in order to get to a point now where I truly love who I am. Do I like everything about me? No, of course not. Like we're human beings, but I have a deep level of love for myself at the core, and appreciation of all parts of my body, and a love for all parts of my body. And that is something that I'm so grateful for that contrast, because then I'm able, through that confidence I have and safety I have with my body, I'm able to project that out into the world and move that energy out into the world. And that is so awesome to then experience when it comes to less of that mental chatter that's coming up and less of all these different narratives and thoughts and this pain that you can feel in the body and the pressure and this battle that feels like it's raging constantly. All that quiets down more. And that is what I'm really excited to be able to dive into today, is to help you with a practice in order to create safety with your body. This is Make Burn Out Extinct. I'm Robert David Weeks. Before getting into it, I want to say thank you for listening. And if you haven't done it yet, please subscribe and follow the show for the latest episodes. My commitment to you is to make this the best show it can be by you doing that, to continue to grow this show and to focus of improving my skills as a storyteller, as a researcher for the information I'm sharing with you, and then as an interviewer for the guests that are coming on and sharing their insights, all focus on this mission of Make Burnout Extinct. So thank you for being a part of this movement, and thank you for taking the time to listen to this conversation. Today, I want to get into this conversation with you, and then I also want to go through a practice for you of how you can create safety in the body, a practice that you can refer back to because you're just doing it once. I mean, you may be lucky and that'd be amazing. I'd be so pumped for you, but it does take time. It's like you're building a muscle. And similar within the mind, even the neural pathways, you want to strengthen these neural pathways when it comes to the habits. And specifically, one habit that I want to focus on today is creating safety in your body. Because if you are someone that steps out into your day and you feel like someone is going to find out that you're a fraud or find out the real you, if you have that fear in the back of your mind as you're having conversations with people, I want you to know that you're in the right place. If you are someone that feels like you always have to put on the mask and laugh at the jokes you really don't want to laugh at, say the things you really don't want to say, or agree to certain things that you really don't want to agree to, then you're in the right place. And if you feel like you are walking through life in this scared way where you walk out the door and you feel like there's threats all around you, and you can feel this anxiety that builds up that holds you back from going out there and stepping into who it is you want to become, the vision you have for your life, of taking the action courageously and making the decisions that you know you have to make, but you're afraid to make those for your life. I want you to know you're in the right place. So what I'm going to do for roughly like the next 10 minutes is go through a practice with you. And I'm going to share with you questions in this practice. I'm going to provide different insights for you in this practice. I'm going to give you a moment to just chill and relax in this practice so you can start to reconnect to that safety within, or discover it for the first time, or rediscover it for the first time. Or not rediscover it for the first time, but rediscover it, because it's been a while. In the practice for the 10 minutes, if you are currently not able to find a quiet place to be able to do this, laying down is helpful, or sitting, or just a room, like a room where you can go to this and not have any distractions coming your way, then what you can do if you're not in a place to be able to do that is just listen to the vibe of this, get the vibe of it, and then be able to experience the practice at another time. But if you are able to get to a quiet spot, comfortable place without any without any distractions around you, be helpful, then I'd recommend doing that right now and just taking a few seconds to be able to do that. I'll try to buy us some time here with me just talking. But I really am excited for you to experience this, because when you have that safety within you at the core in your body, what that then does is it creates this inner knowing that you can handle anything that comes your way, any of the challenges, any of the shit, any of the amazingness and the successes that you're wanting. You're going to be able to handle that from an energetic standpoint with the body, and be able to then continue to move forward in your life. And that is a fucking awesome gift. And it's one that I'm so excited to be able to help you to navigate for yourself. Because again, it goes back to it's your relationship with your body, right? So you're going to have to start this process. And for me, I've had to have those hard conversations with myself of really diving deep and understanding, why do I feel those ways and what at the heart is coming up for me. And it always would come back to like the meaning I would put on it, with those other experiences I talked about when it came to porn, to my fitness, working out, to my height. Like I had to really address it and understand, like, what power am I giving away, to other people, or to give power giving away from myself with the different thoughts that I was having that felt like that it was an attack on myself, on my body, right? It's like, what am I giving up here? And then what could I actually bring into my life if I were to look at this in a different way? And then having to make the decision to change my perspective on this, to change the habits and the behavior and the thought patterns. And all of that was fucking hard. Be real. Like I want to be real with you. And that's another commitment I've made to this podcast, is to be real with you. It's a fucking hard journey, but it's such a worthwhile journey on the other side. And on the other side, you still will have your challenges that come up, but man, you're fucking playing at an epic baseline. And that's where safety becomes really important. So I want to get into it. All right, I've had enough. Now I hope you found that space. So you can find that quiet space. What I want you to do is focus in on your breath. So make sure you're honoring, are you shallow breathing right now? So more in the high in the chest, or can you bring that breath down into the stomach? Take a deep inhale and then release. I want you to start to notice either the chair, if you're sitting in a chair beneath you, the ground beneath you if you're laying down, or if you're on a bed or on the floor. Bring your awareness into the space, because you've had a lot of shit you maybe haven't dealt with to get to this point and to decide to click on this. And you may have a lot of shit and challenges after that you gotta deal with. But in this moment, come into the present and feel the space around you as you continue to breathe in and breathe out. Being able to notice your surroundings and taking a few seconds to call out a few things that you're seeing in the space. I'm seeing a mirror, I see a computer, I see books. Let's take one deep inhale through the nose and then out through the mouth. And then you can just continue to breathe in and breathe out at a natural pace. We're going to embark on this journey together. And what I want to prepare you for is that it is a practice of awareness, of being able to move through your body, reconnect with your body, and then to start to have a shift in perspective that can come up. Questions to start to ask yourself, and then being able to notice where in your body those questions come up. Because awareness is that first step of then understanding what has to change. And even before the awareness is the willingness to step into this and to move into this. So that I honor of you continuing on this journey and being here. Like, that's fucking awesome. And it's a moment to celebrate, a little win, a little acknowledgement to yourself. You can do that physically if you want, or just maybe like a tap on the shoulder to be nice. Either a hug, put both arms. I know you may think it's weird if you haven't done it before, but trust me, it's nice to give yourself a hug. Oh yeah. Or you can be like, you can let out louder than I did, but I just don't want to do that if you're listening to this with headphones. Allow yourself to acknowledge that you took this step. And now what I want you to do is to bring your awareness down to your feet, starting at the base, the bottom of the kinetic chain for the body. Feeling your toes, you could even wiggle them if you can. Wiggle them around, you might get some cracking sound. I get a lot of those. Those are coming up. And what we're going to be doing is a body scan. So a body scan, a body reconnection, really helpful to bring you even deeper into a presence and awareness with your body. You may feel resistance here in certain areas of your body. Notice those, acknowledge them, remember them, because those can be areas where you can explore. Wherever you feel that tension, notice that too. So let's move up into our ankles. You can move your ankles back and forth. Then to your calves. To your knees. Bring them up to your hamstrings, your thighs. Just bring your awareness to it. If you want to, you can move your hands with you all the way up to feel the body. Or you can just bring your awareness to those areas and leave your hands at your side. Thinking your inner thighs, your glutes, the hips. Can you move the hips a little bit, back and forth? Bringing up into the stomach and the gut. Noticing if you can feel the ribs at all. The chest. Is there any heaviness, any tension there? Any pain, any twisting? Moving into your shoulders. Move the shoulders up and down, doing that. And then your arms. Feeling your arms. Biceps. Got your triceps. Brachialis. That was a fun one to learn. That's in your arm. Super cool one. Go down your wrists. Fingertips. Oh, yeah. You can move them a little bit. Then bring that back on up to the neck. Oh, yeah. Feeling the neck. Then in the face. You move the jaw a little bit. Nice yawn. Oh, yeah. There's the yawn. And then up to your head. And then right above. It's a moment to have some awareness of what tension came up, where you felt knots or pressure. If you didn't feel anything at all, that's something to also be aware of. Was there any numbing that was happening? And now let's move into some questions to reflect on for the body. The first question is being able to repeat, what is your name? So if you were to think your name, if I were to think about that, my name is Robert David. Where do you feel that truth in the body, right? Because it is a truth. It's your name. Where do you notice that in your body? For me, I notice it in my stomach. But you can repeat again. What is your name? And connect to that. Because that's the starting path. Is being able to know where truth is connected to the body. Because the body gives you those signals. And going back to burnout, it's really important to be able to recognize those signals so you don't hit burnout. And when you have safety with your body, you're able to be at such a higher level of baseline to make burnout extinct. And just noticing, where is that truth for you? Okay. Next question to ask is, when was there a moment in your life where you were really, really fucking excited, right? Like a moment where it was just fucking awesome. What comes up for you? For me, I remember actually seeing my life partner recently. Like she came back, she was went on a girls trip for a week in LA. And then I was so excited to see her. Like I missed her a lot. And I remember she was driving in and like I'm weird like that. I like went out of the house and down one of the blocks and I like ran her in. Like I ran with her as the car was going by, like I waved her in. And she's like, God, what the hell are you doing? You're so weird. But that's me, you know? And then I ran up and gave her a big hug. And for me, I was like, oh, I'm so excited. So for you, what was a moment like that? And when, as you're thinking about that, notice where that comes up in the body, right? Could be in the head, could be in the stomach. But where are you starting to notice that? Because that's your excitement. That's the excitement energy. Now, what I want to ask of you is, when was there a moment of something not working out for you, where you felt disappointment? Where you may have sent an email to someone that you really wanted to connect with and you never got a response back? Or maybe you were wanting, I think of football actually. I'm like thinking of the football game. You know, you watch the football game and your team, they lose the game. Like, where do you feel that disappointment? Where could that be in the body? For me, I feel it in my head, but you might feel it differently. Awareness is key. There's no one right way going, but there is a right way for you. That's that quote from John Butcher. It's a powerful, powerful saying. Where do you notice that? And now I want to focus in on, what are you afraid of with your body? What is that? What is that either afraid of, feeling angry about, feeling like you're in a battle? But what is the one thing that you can think of that can come up? You know, maybe something you don't like. And when you have that, bring the awareness to, where do you notice that tension in the body, right? It may be intense pressure in the chest or overwhelm that comes up in the stomach. But what I want to tell you right now is there's two things. You can always lean out and move back into what was really exciting in that memory, or you can lean in here. But it is up to you to choose and give yourself that space. You can always lean in or lean out. But to lean in is a moment for you to discover the question behind this thing that you're afraid of, or this thing that you're pissed off about. What is the decision that is needing to be made? That could be of choosing to show up differently, choosing to actually say what you really mean, choosing to not laugh when at the joke they didn't find funny. But what is that for you? And as you lean in, you can notice that the tension or the pressure or whatever other sensation that's coming up that represents this, it could be an image for you. It could feel like a knot. It could feel like a waterfall. It could feel all over, like all consuming. And whenever it gets too much, you can always lean out and go back to that thought of what was really exciting and that truth of your name. And continue to breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Because this is what I want to tell you. Usually what comes through with that anxiety that we're feeling, of the uncertainty of the future, is really coming down to not understanding the decisions that we've got to make. And there's these open loops that are wanting to be closed. And so connecting that back to these moments where there are these questions you have with your body, this is the space to open up a dialogue and a conversation with that. Of like, what is a decision that I am either afraid of making, or I'm pissed off and I can't see the decision, or I'm just so overwhelmed with the fear that I'm not going to make that decision, and I don't even know what the decision is. This is that opportunity to explore. And it doesn't have to be a decision you have to make now, but it's understanding what are those decisions, the clarity that comes from that. Because then with clarity, with more understanding, it becomes less scary, right? So you might still be navigating that, and you may not clearly understand what the decision is, but you may have an insight that comes through of what's coming up, of something you want to say out loud. And this is your moment to say that. What is that thing that you're afraid to say out loud to someone else? And say that. And when you do, notice if you go back to where the truth is for you, similar to where you said your name. Because that's how you can confirm that it is a truth for you. Doesn't have to make any sense to anyone else. Doesn't maybe have to feel logical, but just what is truth for you? Because what this is starting to build the foundation of that ability to grow your self-confidence. It's building blocks to understand and speak your truth. I go back to the Mark Twain quote. I'm going to paraphrase it. It's like not coming exactly to mind, but it's like, when you speak your truth, you don't have to remember anything. Or when you speak the truth, you don't have to remember anything. Because you just say it. You're just saying. You're just being. Now you can bring your awareness back, have a moment to release that question or that sensation, and then come back into truth. You can repeat your name. Your name is. Come back into that. Reconnect with that truth. Come back into that exciting experience. Remember that. Let that ripple through so you can feel that energy in the body. Notice where the tension is, or where you feel the sensations. Reconnect with that. Take a few deep breaths in and breathe out. Now you can bring your awareness back into the space around you, into the environment, the room you're in, or wherever you're at. Going back to what you could see around you, calling it out for the items. Again, mirror for me, I'm seeing a computer, books, call it out verbally. And then come on back. into the space. And what I want to recap for you is that this is a practice to come back to, right? You may have gotten some insight. It could have been relaxing, and that's just your starting point, is like coming back to a relaxing state. And that helps with the nervous system to come back into parasympathetic of rest and digest. And so maybe that was the progress for you. Or when it came to the decision, you actually were able to see what the decision was that you had to make. And that created clarity for you. But this is one of potentially many decisions that have been hidden. And this is your practice and your space in order to understand those. And then from there, be able to start to make those decisions. And that comes with that courage of being able to do it in a space of feeling a level of excitement and of truth. And that's where those two other focuses of, saying your name as well as being able to remember what was really exciting. That helps to be those wheels for you to help guide you. And then really then it's taking the moments to focus, and it could be new every single time, or it could be one that you're going back to often for that moments of where you feel the fear, the anger, or the guilt or the shame of connecting of that relationship with your body. That's where you can start to have that dialogue and explore that within the body and notice where the tension is and be able to lean in for as much as you want, and then you can always lean out. And then as you continue to put those reps in, you build the strength, the muscle of this work, because it doesn't happen overnight. And to hit burnout, it didn't happen overnight. And what I want to go back to this quote of an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I want to make sure that you're able to build this safety within with the body, because that will absolutely support you in making burnout extinct. And I want to remind you, if you haven't heard it yet today, I believe in you. You're capable of this. It can feel scary. It can feel intense. It can feel like this is a permanent reality of like, how can I move through this? I want you to know you're capable of this as a human being. To show up and to put the reps in and to realize you can take the breaks when you need to take the breaks and lean out when you got to lean out. You are in control. And you got this. If you like this episode, please don't forget to leave a rating or review for this podcast and help get this message out of Make Burnout Extinct. And you can share what resonates with you from this episode by connecting with me on Instagram or LinkedIn. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I don't take that for granted ever. And I'm so excited to reconnect again soon.